What's your name, son?
I love to sing about the moon and the June and the spring. I love to sing.
Yeah, Babbitt. I want to eat. I love to eat. Well, then, go up and get the bird out of that nest, and we'll eat.
What a beautiful hand you have, Miss Heartburn.
Warner Brothers was the cartoon studio more than any other that specialized in parodying celebrities. Friz Freleng said that was because most of the people who worked there were showbiz buffs themselves. Friz Freleng was an old vaudeville buff. He just loved old vaudeville.
At the time they were made, these cartoons were accompanying the films of Jimmy Cagney, Bette Davis, Edward G. Robinson. They were the curtain raisers for those big Warner Brothers feature films. And that didn't elude the writers and gag men and directors who made the cartoons.
Hey, you should take a fellow American to a meal.
Of course, they used Humphrey Bogart a lot. He'd pop up in cameos in 8-Ball Bunny.
Say, pardon me, but could you help out a fellow American who's down on his luck?
Hit the road!
Also in Slick Hair.
Hey, waiter, come here.
Yes, sir, Mr. Bogart. We have some very nice...
Cut the gab and bring me an order of fried rabbit.
Robin Hood Daffy is a take on Robin Hood and Errol Flynn.
Oh, knock it off.
As was Rabbit Hood that Bugs Bunny appears in, and there's a cameo appearance by Errol Flynn in that cartoon.
Welcome to Sherwood.
The highlight of the parody cartoons was one that Tex Avery did just before he left to join MGM Studio, and it was called Hollywood Steps Out. At the same time, they were doing newsreels about the big craze of the nightclubs here, the Trocadero and the Macambo and the Ciro's and all these glamorous places that used to exist when, you know, all you could see is searchlights in the sky every night.
I learned to love to do parodies. I never did vicious parodies. And I've discovered that if you're going to do one, you have to love what you do. You cannot look at it with askance. You cannot treat it roughly. You must care about it.
I think the fact that Chuck worked with Charlie Chaplin when he was a kid, probably a lot of that rubbed off on him. He lived near there and he used to go over and do bit parts for Chaplin.
There's, you know, a good-natured mischief to a lot of the caricaturing, and many animators are good caricaturists. The medium is, in and of itself, one of caricature. It's exaggerated movements, exaggerated expressions. T. He, who is one of the all-time great caricaturists, worked at Warner Brothers and designed the caricatures who turned up in things like the Cuckoo Nut Grove.
I go everywhere, I do everything, and I never have any fun.
The Warner Brother cartoons can draw on the music associated with these famous stars. So we see Carmen Miranda and we hear one of her songs. She might be even singing one of her songs. We see Humphrey Bogart, we see Jimmy Cagney, and we'll hear music that's either associated with them.
Because if you get caught, you take your rap alone, see? All right, now let's try it.
Something that was in a movie of theirs, or we'll hear music that is typical for them. Occasionally we will hear references to the music from famous Warner Brothers films. So Stalling might actually write a score or a cue in the sound of, say, Eric Wolfgang Korngold or Max Steiner, both of whom were composers for Warner Brothers. Korngold wrote the music for The Adventures of Robin Hood with Errol Flynn, and Max Steiner wrote the music for now Voyager, Casablanca. And so we actually have this interesting interplay between the sounds of the feature films and the sounds of the cartoons.
A lot of the cartoons, or certainly a fair number of them, also play off the idea of being in show business.
Yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir.
The Big Snooze being one example, where Elmer goes to quit cartoons.
I get the worst of it from that wabbit in every one of these cartoons. Of course, there's the little matter of my contract with Mr. Warner.
And Bugs tells him, think of your career, think of mine.
Well, we've been like Rabbit and Costello.
They're very much aware they're in cartoons.
Daffy Duck in Hollywood is a cartoon of Daffy running around Hollywood studios.
I've got an option coming up.
There's What's Up, Doc, where Bugs supposedly gives his show business biography.
Who? Disassociated Press? The public has been demanding my life story?
How he and Elmer got to be stars in vaudeville and just stumbled across the line, What's Up, Doc?
Me, what's up, Doc? Hey, we got something, Doc. Let's do it again. Me, what's up, Doc?
One of the earliest examples of that is You Ought to Be in Pictures, where Daffy persuades Porky to tear up his contract. He goes to the live-action Leon Schlesinger and gets his contract.
Hello, Porky. Come on in.
Hello, Mr. Schlesinger. Hello, Leon.
Tears it up, although Leon's given him a fake, and then he stumbles through a bunch of Hollywood settings.
Probably Leon loved it because they could use all live action and not have to pay any background painters. And that great scene where Porky's, you can see him in his car, and the background's going by really fast. He's going down Van Ness or going down Sunset. You can see gas was 23 cents a gallon, you know, and all that. I love that stuff.
I love the fact that the studio guard who lifts up Porky's little car and throws it away, that's Michael Maltese, the writer, dressed as the studio guard.
Who do you think you are driving through here like that?
Why, I'm Porky Pig.
Oh, so you're Porky Pig.
But it's Mel Blanc's voice.
When they made My Dream Is Yours, feature film in the mid-40s, they went to Friz Freleng to direct a live-action Bugs Bunny sequence with Doris Day and Jack Carson dancing.
They're always waking up the stock-a-doodle-doo, but Freddie doesn't bat an eye.
Waking up is such a terrible shock.
By the time of the 1950s, when television was coming in, and they started doing spoofs of things like The Honeymooners, which was called The Honey Mousers.
Hey, Alice! Alice! Come here, baby, and see what your ever-loving husband and provider has brought you.
Are you kidding, Ralph? A hunk of old stale cheese.
The Ducksters, which was a parody of TV and radio quiz shows.
This program brought to you by the Eagle Hand Laundry. Does your eagle have dirty mitts? Pardon me, but may I have my jackpot?
It still happens today on The Simpsons, where they will parody or use a celebrity voice or imitate a celebrity, but because it's topical.
Good morning, Mr. Hardy.
The same thing will happen with today's things, 50 years from now. People say, what was that all about?
If you're not a movie buff, it causes some curiosity looking back saying, well, who is that character supposed to be?
Cucaracha, cucaracha! Cucaracha, cucaracha!
What's that about?
They didn't think then that the cartoons would ever have a shelf life beyond maybe 2 showings. They didn't know that years from then video would be invented and television would start showing them into perpetuity. There wasn't even a concern that maybe this joke will date. It was just, let's do it, it'll get a laugh.
It's important to never forget that these films were shown alongside feature films, usually Warner Brothers feature films, as part of an evening's entertainment at the movies. That's how these were shown and seen by huge numbers of people for 30 years.
At last, Oscar. Oh, Oscar, I'll keep you and cherish you. I'll even take you to bed with me every night.
Do you mean it?
What?